Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou's face-off. People saying Francis washed him, saying that he's coming in and stealing his shine once again, taken away from the boxing scene, maybe to give back to the boxing scene, wake some of these heavyweight boxers up. But then some people were saying Anthony Joshua was talking that was cooking with grease, but no one wanted to give him the credit. So we're about to break it down. What really happened in this face-off? How will this affect their fight on March 8th? Breakdown. Let's go.
How are we? Good?
We're good.
Yeah. This was unexpected. No one thought this was supposed to be the fight. This was supposed to be Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Sitting here.
Yeah, that was my route.
I saw that.
Yeah, to stick in boxing. They spoke about this fight before, and I said, no, it's a gimmick fight. It's not something that I think is right. Crossing over when I'm still chasing heavyweight glory, you know? And then I think when they saw what happened with his last fight, the situation with Wilder, this opportunity presented itself. But I never turned down a challenge, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's not a gimmick fight all of a sudden, huh, AJ? I understand why AJ, why Eddie Hearn, why a lot of these people would call it that before Francis fought Tyson Fury. We understand that because that's what it looked like. It's what I said. I said it was too. But then Francis shocked the world. I know we say it because it's the phrase that everybody's afraid of. It's the he who shall not be named of the combat sports scene, but he did. Put down Tyson Fury, danced on him, one of these. I will give AJ all the credit in the world. He didn't have to take this fight. Francis isn't ranked. There were multiple opponents that AJ could have taken. The dude's got stones. It's what I've always liked about AJ, even though some of his performances have been lackluster in some cases, but now that he's finding that inner destroyer again, he's never said no to a lot of these guys. And apparently it's coming out that over the years, the negotiations between him and Tyson Fury have been more so on the side of the Furies because we know how they are in negotiations.
You called it a gimmick fight then. Is it still that? I mean, this is now you taking on Francis Ngannou as opposed to Tyson Fury when he did. Is it still a gimmick fight?
No, it's the biggest challenge of my life.
It's the gimmick fight. Fight is a gimmick. Overall, I think it's very funny because I think of gimmick fight like, I mean, we are crossing.
Yeah.
This is a crossover, you know.
But you're a boxer now.
But did you hear what AJ said? The biggest challenge of his life. Now, Tyson Fury also said this, but I think what Tyson Fury was saying may not have matched what he actually thought about Francis. Now that AJ's gotten eyes on Francis, they have to believe he's going to be dangerous. I know everybody's saying it's easy money. Eddie Hearn said it's easy money for AJ. I believe AJ possesses a style that's going to be a little bit more difficult for Francis Ngannou versus the Tyson Fury fight because Tyson just wanted to lay on him, pump his jab, and again, just lay on him. Use his weight, try to bully Francis, and he found out really quick that Francis is a big boy, 270 plus. But I think this is a little different. I think AJ is going to stand at more of a boxing range and throw combinations, which again, puts him in a danger zone, but I think he wants to fight that fire with fire this time around. I've seen that from him in the last couple. He's starting to open up a little bit more. Gives Francis opportunities, but the volume of AJ is what I think is going to be the big difference. But this isn't going to be a, throwing 13 punches around fight. At least I don't think so. I don't think Francis is going to get away with that this time.
So my two first boxing match, I'm taking the top two of the top three heavyweight boxer in the generation. So
that is wild. That is wild. I mean, it's kind of double, like two-sided. It's twofold. One, it's a massive challenge for Francis to do that. But two, he's also being fast-tracked to do that because of his status in MMA and because of his performance in the gimmick fight versus Tyson. Francis Ngannou beat the entire system. All the things that you said a guy coming from MMA to boxing can't do and shouldn't do, he did, and it worked.
But it's good. As you said, it's a good challenge. It's very interesting. I always loved boxing growing up. Didn't have those opportunities since I grew up in Africa. And even when I came in Europe, like 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, I always want to stick in boxing. But
dude started fighting in combat sports in 2014. No, I'm sorry. He didn't even start in 2014. That's when he got to Europe. He started fighting, I think, in 2016. You could argue that Francis is going to go down as one of the greatest athletes of all time. He might not get recognized that way because, especially here in America, we don't tend to recognize boxing in that way. Yeah, he could go down as one of the greatest athletes ever if he does this. If he, goes into boxing, beats AJ, which is he shouldn't be favored. It's not easy.
So where is he as a boxer? I mean, again, we saw that first fight against Tyson Fury. It was his first fight. Anything could happen. No one knew what was going to happen. He's
good.
ranked with the WBC now.
He's always wanted
Where
to
is
be a
he?
boxer. He's good. UFC champion. You know what it is?
But not a boxer.
But there's a lot of stand-up game. And in his industry, people have takedown, submission, stand-up, better at kicking. So when he fights, he's fighting people that have aspects that are good in every category. So he might fight someone who's better than him in stand-up. So I've watched people that he boxes that are good at stand-up and how he's dealt with people at their stand-up game. He knows how to box. He's not, in terms of training, you probably do more rounds in boxing and fair enough than in the fight, but he knows how to box, he knows his way around. The only difference is one's a cage and one's a ring.
I feel like
Well, it's not the only difference, but boxers are starting to realize that the sport, at least at the heavyweight division, the guys striking isn't that far off. Because again, at heavyweight in boxing, you don't have, outside of Usyk is fantastic, and AJ is solid fundamentally, but you don't have guys that are ridiculously skilled like you may have at the lower weight classes with the feet, with the speed in the hands, with the explosivity and power and finesse. You don't have all of that you would at a lower weight class. And why Francis is able to make his way into the sport and do what he does is because he possesses some of the same strengths as heavyweight boxers possess. Power in his hands, an ability to be defensively sound, protect his chin. He does have a solid chin as well, that helps. And also, he's bigger than most of the heavyweights. He's big.
I was in the position that I was already on top of my game. MMA, I was a champion. I have I have deal with high level competition and then all those experience. And then people were still like, nah, he can't do and I'm like, okay, whatever. Unless we get there that day and find out, I'm not going to explain. You don't explain those stuff. You do, and then people see, and then you just make sure you do good, not get embarrassed, don't disappoint people, or don't make them right. You get excited to prove them wrong.
and you proved.
Francis just said a lot of words to say.
Words are cheap, talk is cheap, actions are what matter.
Why Ngannou?
I wanted to
Joshua.
fight for the championship. I wanted to lead my career towards the championship. This is still leading me towards the championship, though. He's a boxer, so I have to win. And when I win, I'll move on to fight for the championship.
I'm not viewing myself as I depend on the win. I see myself as I depend on the fight. What's going to happen? Yes, of course, I want to win, but I can win without really fighting. It's not the kind of win that I'm looking for.
You want
I really
exciting
want
fights.
Yes, I really want to fight. And when you fight, even when you lose, people want to see you back.
Francis essentially is saying he wants to be in big fights. That's it.
And unlike him, I'm not here focusing on
AJ ain't heard a word this man said. He is zoned out. People said he was locked in. Nah, AJ zoned the fuck out. Fucking give him his own talk show. I need Francis' podcast immediately.
Against Tyson Fury, obviously you put Tyson Fury down.
No,
the
Eddie.
world.
Ask AJ a question, please. They'll talk for another 7 minutes.
Tyson showed that he's very resilient. I saw him come back from a knockdown that you wouldn't believe that somebody would come down. So I think he's probably one of the most resistant person out there, and that's not a disrespect to AJ. I don't believe that AJ would take what Tyson
You don't think
did.
AJ?
Ooh, okay. Francis essentially saying AJ isn't resilient, and that if he hits him with that same left hook, he's going to knock him out cold, or he's not going to get up. And that's been the thing with AJ for a long time, is that mentally, when things start to go bad, he is resilient. That if he gets put down, he doesn't have the resilience to get up. Not that he physically can't get up, but he doesn't have the resilience that Tyson Fury had to get up and win. I like it. I like the honesty of it. But I don't think he's saying he can't take that shot as much as he's saying he can't take that shot and get up and win the fight.
So many people have knocked Tyson down.
Even going to the
Yeah,
fight,
it's a cut.
I knew that even if I knock him down, I would not get excited. That would not mean anything because he always come back. So I have to prepare for a very endurance person.
This is what I'm saying. He was prepared for Tyson, even if he knocked him down, to get back up. What he's essentially saying is that he thinks that AJ is not as resilient. Again, that if he knocks AJ down, that AJ either won't answer the bell, not because he physically can't, but because Tyson's resiliency, his mental fortitude, is something that has been on display and AJ's hasn't. That's telling. Francis doesn't, in my opinion, the way I read that, Francis doesn't think AJ is as mentally strong as Tyson Fury.
We both are going to look for a knockout,
That's what I don't think.
which I don't think is a problem because I will try to knock out. If I have an opportunity,
same,
I will knock out.
100%.
And I think he will do the same thing. So we'll make the knockout chaos.
AJ, you're the former.
Here's the thing with Francis. He is so confident, and he was the same way against Tyson Fury because Francis has a fucking chin on him, dude. I can remember back, like the first Stipe fight, he caught him with a left hook that kind of wobbled Francis's face, but the second fight, he hit him with the shot that people thought Francis was hurt with, and then Francis hit him with the left hook and killed him. So he's super confident in his chin, which is why he's always, when he basically laughed at Tyson Fury, saying Fury was going to knock, like when Fury was like, I'm going to knock this guy out. So it's interesting to see Francis be this confident with AJ because AJ's got a lot more power in his hands than Tyson Fury does. AJ can put the lights out in one shot. He may not have Deontay Wilder power, but there's not another guy on the planet, maybe outside of Francis, that does. So, and that's another thing. Francis has got crazy power as well. So that's what makes this fight amazing. One punch can shut the lights off for either guy. I just want to see how good is Francis's chin.
I will not go for let's go knock him out because knockout is natural. The only time in my career that I went for knockout, he didn't walk away from me. He went
Stipe
really
won.
bad.
Stipe Miocic.
Stipe won, yeah.
I walk to that fight okay, let's go knock this guy out. He ended up in a very bad way for me, right? Yeah. And then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm just going back to who I am, fight, and then it happened. And then I was knocking people out in 20 seconds, 45 seconds, without looking for knockout. So I don't look for knockout.
Francis has always been this way, though, man. If you followed him in MMA, if you followed him, throughout his career, he's always had this mindset around who he's fighting. It's not cocky, but it is confident, right? To a level that may look like he's overlooking people. He said the same thing in the first Stipe fight and he lost, but he also in the second Stipe fight, even after losing to Stipe the first time in the way he did, had that same confidence. Had this confidence with Tyson Fury, and people were like, what the? Where he's essentially laughing at Tyson Fury saying he was going to knock him out. Like, yeah, come try it. We'll see, right? He has this confidence about him because of his chin, because of his experiences, and because I think he feels at all points like he's underestimated. Because how many times have people told Francis Ngannou, you're not going to do that against pretty much the biggest names in his sport while being underestimated, even though Francis had a moment there and when he was coming up where everybody was talking about the big power, he hits like a Honda Civic or whatever. But after that first loss to Stipe, Dana White in the press conference, I don't know if Francis is ever going to be there. Francis makes his way back, wins the belt, then comes over to boxing. He's not going to, this is a gimmick fight. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of underestimation that goes on in Francis's camp, which makes him, I think, even more confident.
I look for fight. And then if knockout, if I collect the information at some point and have an opportunity, I take that opportunity and then we'll probably end up in a knockout.
Final one from me. I want to kind of step back and let you guys tell each other. I'm going to start with you as the challenger here to the former unified heavyweight champion. Tell AJ how... Why
Francis got to be the challenger? They're both challenging each other.
Well, when I look at this fight, I'm not a fool. I know that AJ is great at his game. I respect that. If I wasn't in the fight, I would have been betting on AJ. But as I'm in the fight, I'm betting on me, and I would take everything that I have in my stomach to come after AJ and do everything that's possible to take him down. And if needed to knock him out, that's how I'm going to come after him. Just as a sportsman, but still want to knock him out. I'm gonna do that.
Bars, Francis.
That's how I view the fight.
AJ, you've heard this before from so many guys sitting in the opposite table. Tell Ngannou how this fight plays out.
Good fight. Styles make fights. He's a good switcher. I do the basics very well.
Very well.
I can counter punch. I can move forward. I can move back. I'll do whatever it takes. I will be victorious. I have my own legacy, my own chapter, my own destiny that's destined by God. Everything
Destined by
is
God.
designed for me to come and be victorious and move forward in my life and move forward in my career. I'm looking forward to the challenge because it gives me opportunity to learn so much about myself. As much as it is about Ngannou,
Hey, this is bullshit. Why'd AJ get the music, man? Francis didn't get no music.
is as much as it's about me. The challenge that I have in front of me only makes me learn about myself. He's not the challenge. I'm the challenge. How far can I go? And I'll do whatever it takes to get past whatever's in front of me. May the best man win.
It's a good speech,
Well
though.
done, guys.
May the
Well
best
done.
win.
Francis is so big. And you heard AJ talking about his skills. You know, what makes him unique is his ability to punch forward and back, his counter punching, all that, which is 100% I agree with. Fundamentals. How much volume is AJ willing to give to this fight? How much is he willing to stay active? Both guys can crack. Both guys can counterpunch. People sleep on Francis's counterpunch ability. People, I don't know if you guys remember, the left hook he landed on Fury was a counterpunch. So I wonder how much AJ's willing to risk in those moments, because you're gonna give Francis openings. But at the same time, that volume is the big separator to me. There's the face-off. Listen, it's going to be a fun fight. March 8th, I will see you guys there. Who won the face-off in your opinion? I mean, listen, Francis won the word count for sure. My man was going on monologues. But AJ had a quiet, stoic, focused, and almost knowing something we didn't in his eyes, while Francis just gave off the confidence we always see. So who won this outside of W.A.D.E's perfectly coiffed and crafted beard? And who wins on March 8th? I don't have those answers, but guess we'll find out.